Hi, everyone. My name is Megan O'Rourke. I am the Associate Dean for Admission for the Midwest area at Providence College. And I am joined tonight by some of our colleagues and friends from the School of Business. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but what we are here to do tonight is just to kick everything off for the fall with you all, to give you a little bit more information about the School of Business and some of the opportunities that we have to offer, and give you direct access to two of our wonderful alumni who will share their experiences. So I'm going to hand it over to Jackie.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I like to say here in the Providence College School of Business because I am actually here in the School of Business. And so, much like Megan said, we are here to provide you kind of a high-level overview of both the curriculum and a little bit of what I call the co-curricular. And I know that's a term we use a lot in higher education, but think of that as like the things you do outside the classroom that really enhance your experience in the classroom. Sometimes we say theory to practice, or this idea where you can get active or hands-on learning. And so I brought two of our alums with me virtually to kind of talk about their experiences and talk about where they are now. And so a couple of things I just want to let you know housekeeping wise or logistics is feel free throughout this session to chat. I've got colleagues at behind the scenes who can answer your questions. So feel free to put things in the Q&A and chat about the School of Business, about admissions, because we're going to be monitoring that as well. So without further ado, I'm going to get started. I'm going to ask my two now colleagues, I think I can call them, as our School of Business alumni. And so I feel really grateful that I have both Christian Higuita Montoya, or Christian Higuita, and then I also have Jennifer Wilson here. Jen's with us tonight as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Jen to maybe quickly kind of kick us off. Tell us like your name, your grad year, your major, what you're doing now and how you got to that job. And then from there, Christian, if you can join in, that'd be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I'm so excited to be here tonight. My name is Jen Wilson. I graduated from Providence in 2020 as a marketing major, and I'm now located in Manhattan, if you couldn't tell by the sign behind me, which I just realized is there. And I'm currently the manager of revenue marketing at the New York Mets, which I actually just finished up my second season on Sunday with the team. So in this role, I develop marketing campaigns to attract new fans, bring in old fans every year, and create new streams of revenue for the team. And previous to this role, I was actually at the NFL as a business analyst for 2 years.
Great. Thanks, Jen. Christian?
Hey guys, my name is Christian. I'm class of 16 and then 17 MBA. So I was part of the 4+1 program. I was previously an accounting major. I am now located in Boston, Massachusetts, and I currently work for Berkshire Partners. It's a Boston-based private equity. We have about 35 companies in our portfolio. I mostly specialize in portfolio operations. So think value creation when we buy a company, making sure that we are able to realize everything that we set out with that investment. And so in that capacity, I support CFOs across our portfolio. And so it's been a great experience. Prior to that, I was at PwC for 5 years. So I'm the older alum.
I like to say older and wiser, Christian. You've seen a few things. If that's a fair point, Jen's pretty smart, right? No, but I'm going to ask my colleagues if they can pull up the slide deck because, in the business schools, we always need a slide deck. And so what I'm going to do is give like a really, again, high level overview of the curriculum. And so I'm going to go to the next slide. And when I think of our slide, or I think of our curriculum, I really think of it like a pyramid or triangle, as you can see here. And so overall, every student to graduate needs at least 120 credit hours. And what that means is students are going to take a blend of what I call like Providence College core curriculum courses, and they're going to take business core courses, and they're going to take major courses. But let me back up again for a moment here, because when I think of the PC core curriculum, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. It's our Western civilization classes, it's our philosophy courses, it's natural science courses like chemistry and physics. It's going to be classes like math and statistics. It's going to be some of the social science classes, and like economics or sociology. And a lot of times we refer to this as the liberal arts core. And I think this is so important. And I really think about like our brand at Providence College is that we're a really strong business program sitting on a bed of really strong, thoughtful courses that you take in the liberal arts. Like I think what you learn taking liberal arts course is hard to replicate. You're going to be able to engage with other learners. You're going to be working through some, more challenging curriculum. You're going to get a chance to meet students all across campus. And all of this is going to help you increase like your oral and your written communication, which I know asking my colleagues and alums, like, right, are so important for business, right? So much of that comes from the liberal arts core. And so I think our strength is that we have a strong liberal arts core, and then we add from there a school of business core foundation. And so these are the type of courses that you're going to see at all AACSB accredited business schools. And you're going to see the type of courses like accounting, and you can see them to the right. You're going to take courses in data application for business. You're going to take classes in marketing. And I'm not going to read these, but these are core business classes. You're also going to take classes like micro and macroeconomics and stats and calculus. And all of these are what I call the more technical and quantitative focus. They're giving you that well-rounded business experience that you need. So you combine that on a foundation of liberal arts, I think it's very strong. And then you add from there your major requirements. So this is where you can major in accounting, finance, management, marketing. And this is where you can add that depth of a specific discipline. But this entire time, you're getting a really well-rounded education where you're going to go out to the workplace and be really successful, because a lot of employers really want you to be able to think critically. They want you to be able to take they want you to take data and make decisions. And that comes from the combination of what I call business courses and liberal arts courses. It gives you that critical thinking to be able to do those things. Now, I'm going to ask real quick before I go further into the different majors. So Jen and Christian, do you feel like this well-rounded education prepared you for your positions? And do you feel like you use some of these skills day to day? And since we started with Jen before, let's start with Christian this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I think about like the liberal arts kind of portion of my education, um, having been an accounting major and just being so hyper focused on numbers, it really taught me to be an effective communicator. And I think that's where that strength stems from. So again, super important. Also, just finding ways to be a long time learner. That's something that I also learned through the liberal arts, right? Whereas in your business curriculum, it tends to be, um, you know, you're learning the debits and credits. For example, in accounting, it's more factual based, but liberal arts definitely teaches you to think outside the box, and that's definitely something that I lean on every day when I'm problem solving.
Great, thanks. Jen, how about you?
Yeah, just to echo that, I think at the time as a freshman, I'm sure I would have loved to just take marketing classes for 4 years. But getting into the business world, it is really important to just know every aspect of what you're dealing with at a business. I'm not crunching numbers as an accountant every day, but I do have to work with them and I have to budget every year. So having that core base to build off my marketing career on has been super helpful. And then on the other side as well, with the liberal arts education, you did use the word well-rounded, which I'm sure you guys use all the time, but it is so accurate. Even just how you interact with people every single day and your ethics relating to that is super important to be able to stand strong on. So yes, this was very great for me and as I moved into the corporate world.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate both of you bringing your perspective into the conversation, because I do think it's a significant strength for us. It really brings like a balance. It brings in both parts of, it brings all the skills together that you really need to be successful in any career that you choose, hopefully obviously in business, but obviously if you go anywhere and in any field or industry. And I'm going to ask my colleagues to move to the next slide. And so one of the things that we think about here is, we have accountancy, finance, management, marketing. So the first thing I'm going to mention is it's really easy to move between them. And so, as you saw in that previous slide, every student's taking what we call PC core courses. All of our business majors are taking PCSB, or Providence College School of Business, core courses. And then from there, students go between these 4 majors if they choose to be business students. And it's relatively easy. And I use relative because obviously as you get into end of sophomore year, junior year, it gets a little bit more challenging. But certainly first year and into sophomore year, it's easy to move between these majors. And so it allows students this opportunity to kind of explore while they're going through a lot of the core courses. They get an idea of like, what is accountancy, what's finance, what's management, what's marketing, because you're going to take financial and managerial accounting. You're going to take your first kind of managerial corporate finance course. At some point, you're going to take a organizational behavior class. You're going to take principles of marketing, and these core courses help you kind of decide that. But there are what we call the major courses. So as you think about moving between these majors, I really, when I work with students, I tell them, think about what courses are in your major and do they sound interesting and exciting? Now I'm going to say, Christian, he thinks things like auditing and public accounting and taxes, they sounded really exciting to him, right? And then you look at Jen, and Jen thought classes like buyer behavior or sports marketing, obviously, or things in social media seemed really interesting. But for a lot of our students, they may really think things like investments and financial modeling or human resources and DEI in organizations are interesting. And so students have this opportunity from there to kind of become more experts in those different majors. And really, I really encourage them to take a look at what of these majors seem interesting to you. And certainly another question I get a lot is, can I double major or minor? And so we have accountancy and finance as minors for our business students. We have marketing for our non-business students to take as a minor, but all of our students have the option to double major within the School of Business as well as across campus. And so we definitely see some double majors and minors over with our friends in arts and sciences, and sometimes even education and social work, and certainly also health policy management. Those are probably the most common areas that we see double majors. And so what I'm going to do now is kind of shift a little bit gears, because we talked a little about the liberal arts core, and we talked a little bit about the curriculum. And so let's shift a little bit to talk about student engagement, this idea of the co-curricular, those out of classroom experiences. And so I'm going to ask my colleague for admission if they could move the slide forward to the next set. So in the business school, we really think it's important that in addition to coursework, that students also engage out of the classroom in what we call the co-curricular. And so this graphic shows you how we think of student engagement, this idea of the Friar Leadership and Immersion Program, which is a program that students participate in all throughout their 4 years. And how we think about this is from first year to senior year, or what we also sometimes refer to as the career exploration stage through to proficiency. And so what we do is we create these activities and events that help support student learning. And so early on, we have students engage in what we call the FLIP. So the Friar Leadership Immersion Program is FLIP. We have the FLIP first year badge, and we ask our students to go to activities and events, and we quote unquote gamify this experience through a platform. They have an app where they can kind of track different events they go to, and they have to get 250 points. I know that sounds like a lot, and they have a whole year to do it. But really, like every event is 10 points or 20 points, or as we ask them to get Excel certified, that could be 70 points. So every activity, depending upon its time and or its engagement opportunity, translates into a point value. And so our students really get a lot of opportunities to really explore, what do I do at a major? Like, what are the industries and jobs? And that's what this does. And then when they continue, they can explore career pathways on web pages. They can go to our PC Biz Basics, which I'm going to ask Jen to talk about in a second. And then from there, they can go to tracks. And all throughout this time, they have resources from Chirico Career Center, helping them get prepared for internships and jobs. They have people to talk to them about different careers and industries. We have a strong advising system where we have first year, second year advisors, faculty advisors available to students. And everyone is working toward helping students excel in their major, but also get those out of classroom activities. They're going to help them be what I like to call the best prepared job seeker, right? Helping those students get the skills and experiences they need to be successful. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to our alum a little bit more and ask them about some of their experiences at Providence. And so I'm going to ask Jen to go first because she was a speaker last week for our PC Biz Basics digital marketing. And so the PC Biz Basics digital marketing is an opportunity for students to hear through a set of workshops about what is digital marketing? Like, what does that mean as a field? What are some of the jobs? What are some of the aptitudes and skills I need? How can I get started? Are there certifications that I should get? And so Jen joined us with another one of our alums to talk to our students a little bit more about what she does in digital marketing. But you want to talk a little bit about what you talked about last week and then also talk a little bit about how you might have gotten some of those experiences while you were at Providence?
Yeah, for sure. So I participated in the Biz Basics workshop last week where a fellow marketing alumni and I, who currently works at Amex, we took students through a variety of campaigns and our day-to-day jobs to help them kind of visualize and understand what a real job can look like after they graduate. I'm pretty sure this is a new program since when I graduated, but I definitely would have found it very useful. The alumni and I, we both have marketing jobs, but we do completely different things. So I think it was really helpful for students to see just two paths that are out there, and there are a million more beyond ours. But I hope it was helpful for them. They seem to get a lot out of it. So definitely a great light bulb situation for these students where something might ping, and if that's what happened last week, then I'm happy with how it went for sure.
Mm-hmm. And you want to talk a little bit about some of the things you did on campus when you were here as a student?
Yeah, sure. I tried everything under the sun, a lot not successfully, like sailing, as I said in the class last week. But I was on the Ultimate Frisbee team. I was also the head of Her Campus, which was a blog for women throughout my four years there. What else did I do? I was a member of the Benjamin Family Social Media Fellowship, which was a great program that two alumni actually fund, and we were able to completely run all of the business school's social media accounts. So that was really my first hands-on experience with running campaigns for marketing, and that's kind of what launched my interest in this area even more so. Tried dance club, you name it. I probably tried it, but that's what's so great about Providence. There's so many things to try, and if you don't like it, you move on and you try something else. So yeah, I probably missed some things, but that's the bulk.
Great, thanks, Jen.
Yep.
Christian, how about you? I know you were really involved on campus as well. Do you want to talk a little about some of the activities that you engaged in?
Yeah, definitely. I was definitely running around. So seems like so long ago, but I was actually in the Friars Club. So I used to give tours, which was a ton of fun. I was a resident assistant, so I did that. I also participated in business ethics case competitions my junior and senior year, which was a ton of fun as well with my teammates. And I also completed 3 internships with PwC. So there's a ton to do, and it's Providence can keep you busy. So.
Do you want to explain a little bit to our audience what a case competition is? Because I'm not sure everybody at home would know that.
Yeah, no, good point. So I think junior year I was selected to represent Providence at University of Arizona, and so we had a case given to myself and my other teammate, and we had to kind of come up with a presentation and a solution to the problem that the company was facing. In this scenario, the company was Uber, and we were debating the ethics around how they were designated employees. So whether an employee is an actual employee or if it's a contractor, and they receive different benefits and it's a different cost structure to the business. So that was a ton of fun. That experience led us to compete in another one at University of Pittsburgh, which we eventually won. And that was centered around a pharmaceutical company. And at the end of the day, it was all about doing the right thing, right? So it's really kind of at the intersect of development of Western civilization and everything that we saw in our business courses. And so as we kind of progressed through the years at PC, we learned that putting folks and stakeholders above profits, it's always more profitable in the long run. So it was a ton of fun to kind of combine, all the different disciplines doing that. And that was kind of extra on top of all the course load. So super fulfilling.
Mhm. And so I kind of jokingly sometimes talk about case competitions as an opportunity for more competitive students to really take what they're learning in the classroom and apply it to like a business problem. And I think it's pretty exhilarating. Since Christian's been at school, we actually have our own ethics case competition now, the Michael Smith Ethics Competition. And we host in the fall the opportunity for our students to get an ethical case. I can't give away this year's yet, but they get an ethical case and they work in teams of 4 and they present in front of a group of judges and they get quote unquote bragging rights, but they also get some monies as well. And so that's coming up actually in the next few weeks. And we're really excited. We have 20 teams signed up and we have a wait list as well to join. And, students really get really into it. And then we also have what we call an international version of that in the spring, which is virtual. And so our top team who wins our Michael Ethics case competition will actually be in the international competition. And we bring in schools internationally from the US, overseas, et cetera. And it's really exciting to see, all of our students compete. Unfortunately, we haven't won that one yet, but I think it's going to come. It's coming in time, right? And so there's a lot of opportunities, and depending what your major is and your interest, there's so much to do here. For some of our students who are interested in finance, we have a student-led asset management program, and we have the Student Managed Investment Fund. And so those are students who they are trading and investing with real money. And they are working with like faculty at the college, and it's really exciting. And the money's grown a lot. Like I was looking at a statistic just today where they've started with $100,000, and they're now up to over $700,000. And so, that's over multi-years, but still, it's exciting to see what the students can do. There's a lot of opportunities to get involved on campus. I'm switching gears a little bit because I'm kind of curious, Christian, Jen, do you feel like, because there's a stat that comes out pretty frequently from our institutional research team about students being in the type of job they thought they would have leaving Providence. And I think it's pretty meaningful because this stat's always over 90%. And so I think a lot of time we talk about, what's the percentage of students get jobs 3 or 6 months out of school. But sometimes I think what's more meaningful is year after year, we have a statistic that over 90% of our students are in jobs they thought they would have leaving Providence. How do you both feel? Do you feel like Providence prepared you for the jobs you have? And are they the type of jobs you thought you would have leaving Providence or coming into Providence and now having left Providence? How about Christian first?
Sure. Yes, kind of going back to my experience, right, being an accounting major, I remember being really prepared for the CPA exam, right, and kind of getting through that year of exams, and then going into PwC, going into Big Four. Almost everybody in my class had a Big Four offer graduating, so that just kind of speaks to the strength of the program. So again, kind of reiterating the fact that you can land the jobs that you want if you put the work in, right? So yeah, definitely. And I think as my career has evolved, I've kind of leaned on the liberal arts muscle and the being a great communicator and the being a great strategist to kind of land even better jobs after that. So it kind of goes a long way, right? So safe to say it's translated nicely, and what that statistic definitely resonates.
Great.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well. I think I'm in a place right now where I had dreamed of. Honestly, wasn't sure I'd get here as soon as I did, but the alumni network at PC has really, really, really helped me get to where I am today. Professors, friends there, families of friends, alumni, they all are willing to help you and reach out to any of their connections as well to kind of move you along any sort of interview process. So yeah, it's hard work, but PC really does set you up for success to go where you want to go. So agreed.
Yeah, the opportunities are definitely there for sure.
Mhm.
And so, I know Megan's about to jump on, but really quick, because Jen kind of alluded to this, we use the term here, friar family, a lot. This idea that you're part of like a friar community. And, I've worked at several institutions and disclosure, I've been here 10 years, going on my 11th year at Providence College. And you feel the friar family. When I reach out to alumni, they almost always reach back out, right? And when I ask them to connect with a student, they connect with a student. And when a student reach out to them, they reach out. So there's this sense of like giving back. And you really can hear it in both Christian and Jen, right? This idea that they've reached out to alumni and they all have this, shared experience. And so I think it's really important because you don't always feel that same kind of community elsewhere, but you feel it here. There's a lot of, I think, identity, with your classmates. And so real quick, maybe one of my last questions, because I'm assuming Megan getting on means that I got to wrap up. Uh, like, do you stay in touch with your alumni classmates?
Yes, definitely. I have one as a roommate who is currently in her room trying to be quiet. I see most of my friends are Providence alumni. A ton live in New York. I see them all the time. And it really is a friar family, especially when basketball season starts back up and we have watch parties in the city. That really stays with you. I mean, I'm what, 3 years out now, so maybe I'm a little green and soon, but I can see this going for forever for the rest of my life. So
Yeah, I
Do you have,
mean,
oh, go ahead, Christian, sorry.
sorry, I was just gonna add on to that. Like, I got married last December, and plenty of my classmates were there, folks I keep in contact with, and also folks professionally, right? That I've encountered, folks that have mentored me that were 10, 15 years ahead of their career. I still keep in close contact with. So definitely, the value of the friendships that came out of my time at PC is, I would say, was the biggest aspect of my time there.
Now, this question is for Christian and Jen. We had a question pop into the chat. As someone interested in the School of Business but has little background knowledge, maybe about the School of Business or just business majors in general, what advice do the two of you have for any prospective students that are considering a business major or a career in business? Or the other side of their question is like prerequisites, like what might be helpful in terms of classes you could take?
So I actually went in completely undecided without a single clue of what I wanted to do. Um, I think it was my second day of class probably that I realized I was not too interested in what I originally signed up for. So my advisor kind of sat me down, showed me some options, recommended maybe trying out a business school class, which ended up being principles of marketing. And I fell in love with that pretty quickly. So I might not be the best person to answer this, but looking back now, I guess just kind of exploring some of the career paths that you could go into. My dad handed me like a 500-page book of every career in the world before college. That didn't help so much. So maybe YouTube videos, see what people are doing in their day to day and see if anything sparks interest. And then you could go from there, probably.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, looking back, right, uh, as someone in business now, the best thing you can do is network. So reach out to friends, parents, anyone that that works in business in any capacity that could help kind of give you some insight into their career. That could be a good person that you can, tap into to pick their brain and learn a little bit more about business in general. I would say as you make your way to PC, hopefully, um, you know, your first classes are your basic classes, so you kind of see a little bit of everything, and it's not a class that's going to go to waste because it's going to go count towards your kind of core curriculum. So you certainly have time, and like Jen, I kind of fell into accounting. My dad was like, "Oh, take accounting; it's practical. You're going to get a job after college." I took my first accounting class, and like everything clicked, and I was like, "Wow, I guess I should like study accounting, right?" Like that doesn't mean I'm an accountant now, but was great for the foundation. So definitely. But I guess moral of the story: just network, talk to folks.
I love that. That's great advice. Now, I know that we've got a variety of students here, so we invited both juniors and seniors to join us this evening. So we have both classes represented in the crowd tonight. For the students that are joining us, are there things that you're wondering about in terms of the program, the process? We have two obviously wonderful alumni here that can answer questions for you about the School of Business. So I'm going to give you all some time if you want to use the Q&A function below. We also have someone behind the scenes answering questions. So pop those into the Q&A. We'll give you all some time to be able to answer those. But Christian and Jen, just from my perspective as someone who works in admission, were you taking classes or things in high school that led you to this? What made you decide on Providence College's business school? Like talk us through some of that. Like, do you feel like that process for you was hard, stressful? You know, we're in the thick of it right now. So that's kind of, for the seniors especially, kind of what they're working with.
Go ahead, Jen.
I was going to let you go first. I think as undecided, it was super stressful for me. I didn't really know what I was looking for, but seeing that Providence had such a wide array of different majors, and it was relatively easy at the time to hop back and forth between the business school and liberal arts, kind of called me to that. And then they always say it's a small school with a big school feeling, which I loved. And they had great basketball, so I always gotta give that props as well.
Yeah, I think kind of looking back on my senior year, I had no idea like what I was going to study. Honestly, I thought I was going to be a lawyer for the longest time. So I used to watch Suits, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be Harvey Specter. It would be funny. But right, like, you know, then I decided, you know, I didn't want to, you know, study history, or I didn't want to go to law school. So I kind of landed on in business just by my dad's advice. But you know, I wouldn't worry about it. I would say just kind of enjoy your search, and I think as you make your way onto campuses, you're going to kind of get that feeling. For me, that's what happened with PC. My sister also was a big kind of proponent of the liberal arts, and she was kind of my mentor growing up. She's a few years ahead of me, and so she's like, Christian, you need a liberal arts education. Like, this is what you can get out of it. So kind of going into it, I knew I wanted liberal arts. And then as kind of the year progressed, I thought, you know, a career in business would be great. So that's kind of how I found Providence, because at the time it was one of the few schools that had both. And when I say both, I mean just having a really strong liberal arts curriculum and really leaning on development of Western civilization here, right? So, you know, for those reasons, I picked Providence. You know, also obviously it's great people. I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina. And so, you know, everyone was always really nice. People would always hold your doors. And as I toured schools in the Northeast, I don't know that I always got that. And when I came onto campus at PC, like I started seeing people holding doors, saying hello, like, you know, walking without their headphones on. And I said, wow, this is the kind of community that I want to be a part of. And so, you know, looking back was the best decision I could have made.
We've got another great question that I think I'd pose to the both of you. Can you talk about a professor that inspired you during your time at PC?
Gee, there's so many. I'm trying to think back. I would say Dean Elsick. Now, Dean Elsick didn't teach me, but we had a great relationship, and she was a great mentor to me throughout my 4 years. And so she, you know, every time I kind of encountered a problem, she always had great advice. And so I'll give Dean Elsick. So that kind of goes to show, right? You have an associate dean who's engaging with the students. You might not get that at a bigger school or at a different school. So.
I had a marketing professor, Janet Letourneau, who taught consumer behavior when I took her, and she was just so invested in every single student's success. We had a grueling semester-long project that we got a ton out of, but she was with us every single step of the way and pushed us to figure out things ourselves. She was like, all right, I'm here with the answer, but I don't want to give it to you if you didn't already try on your own. And that's kind of what pushed us to be better every single day.
Okay. I love this. Dean Elsick, you're getting all this love. Okay. Here's another question for the two of you. How did you balance in terms of just like your schedule? It's you're taking liberal arts, you're taking some business classes, if you took anything else, like how do you balance all of these things, the Western Civ, the business classes, and how are you maybe utilizing those skills, or how did you utilize some of those liberal arts skills as a business student?
We had great advisors that really helped us set up our schedule in a way that doesn't overwhelm us. So I might have been taking a Western Civ class, but I was also mixing in maybe a theology and then 2 business classes, for example. So it was never really overwhelming. I wasn't always taking business classes or just liberal arts classes. And how I use I can never say this word for some reason, but how I use it today is I think all the soft skills that I have, which sometimes are the harder ones to learn, but I do credit a lot of the communication skills that I have today to those core classes that I had to take. So definitely useful, and I think about them a lot, actually.
Yeah, I guess going back to college here, yeah, the advisors did, Jen made a great point. Advisors did a great job of balancing your course load. So not something that I was typically kind of worried about. But I think as I was going into college, as I was beginning, it kind of became apparent that time management skills were, of the essence, and also discipline, right? You come to college and everybody else is smart like you. So what's going to make you different is being able to kind of balance it all out, and obviously having fun too. Like it's not all just business, no pun intended. But I think as I think about like my liberal arts classes and how they tied into the business classes, I kind of think back to organizational behavior where we kind of had to write really long papers. And so when I had to write a long paper in a business class, it was great because I was already writing long papers in an English class or in a history class or a DWC. So it kind of, when you're kind of, outputting, quality work that's like super long, like it just translates well. You get used to it, and it's not as overwhelming. Oh, I gotta write a 15-page paper, like that's fine. I can do that with my eyes closed, because I was doing that at DWC. So that's kind of how that's one skill that kind of played into the next, right? So it's as I think back, I feel like liberal arts just accentuated my business classes even more.
And one thing I want to also add on is, there are a lot of resources on campus for first, second, third year students. And so, for example, in the business school, our students engage in something we call like a first year seminar, a first year series. And the first year series is opt-in workshops around the curriculum, around advising, policies. It's going to be about study abroad and deadlines and opportunities to do that. It's going to be about time management. It's going to be about tutoring and opportunities to be successful. So we do an entire first year series in the business school. And I know you heard me talk a little bit about flip, and students get flip points, right? So they're encouraged to go to these first year workshops that we call the first year series. And then we also have a first year seminar. So for students who want to get academic credit, they can get academic credit, do some of that, but they also deeper dive into learning a little bit about working on teams, learning about their strengths and how to apply that to working in a team. They learn business writing skills in this seminar, and this is optional here. So these are 2 opt-in activities for students that help them kind of sort out, how do I pick classes? How do I think about careers, and how do I think about majors? How do I make sure I'm taking advantage of all the opportunities that our 2 alumni talked about? And so there's all these opportunities in the business school to really connect, right, what you're doing and learn a lot about what you should be doing, or what you want to be doing should be a better way to phrase it.
So we have a question about the recruiting process and like companies coming that recruit on campus. Can you speak to like how that works or what it looks like, just so students have a general sense of that process at PC?
Yeah, perfect. Let me kick it off a little bit with the what I would call the PCSB approach, and then and Jen and Christian maybe talk a little bit about then your experience of how you worked with recruiters and internships and jobs. I mean, I know you both kind of alluded to this, and so this is like perfect timing for this question because tomorrow is our Career Expo, and so I know you both are familiar with this, and the Career Expo brings so many companies to campus. 50 to 100 companies are going to be on campus tomorrow. It's a fair atmosphere, meaning that each of them has a table. In many cases, there are what we call corporate recruiters from who represent the company from the human resources side, but many of them will bring what we call alumni who will come back, who work at those companies, and they're there to like really pitch working either as an intern or full-time employment with them. That same fair has a component where we also have graduate programs, so students who are thinking about going to grad school. We also have another component, another side where students can learn about opportunities for service learning. They can also find out about majors and minors. We have faculty and staff representing all the majors and minors will be there as well. So this is a big fair tomorrow. And so there's actually a fair number of companies on campus today kind of preparing for that, having what we call information sessions. And so ironically, Christian's former employer, PwC, was actually in our atrium today. And so I was talking to some of the recruiters about that as they're getting ready for the big Career Expo tomorrow. And so this is great timing. So that's one way that students can do that. We also have a platform we call Handshake, very popular in a lot of schools. And this platform actually is a way students can, one, actively see what internships are being posted, what jobs are being posted. They can sign up for company interviews there. They can sign up to meet with career coaches in career education, career center. They can sign up to do any sort of skills prep. We have different tools called like Big Interview, which is a platform that helps them learn how to do these kind of virtual interviewing, which has become, very popular among companies. There are also in-person opportunities to meet with career coaches. And so there are a lot of opportunities to work one-on-one with the career coaches to kind of find what's the right pathway. And there are companies on campus frequently. So even outside of the Career Expo, in our atrium in the business school, I would say a couple times a week, we have a company just showcasing their opportunities. And sometimes they're just even here to increase their brand presence so that when students are starting to look for companies, they think of those companies, maybe first before maybe some of their other competitors. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask like Jen and Christian to talk about what is it really like as a student to go through this process and, what tools or what helped you be successful. Maybe Jen first, then Christian.
Yeah, there are a wealth of tools. They're all there. You just kind of have to take advantage of them. There is also Slavin 108, I think you mentioned, maybe not, but it's the Career Center on campus that you could walk into at any time of the day. They definitely helped me fix my entire resume when I first showed it to them. And then the career fair, as you mentioned, which was very intimidating to think about, but once you get in there, it's really just a lot of people who want to help you and want to fill roles in their companies with good, smart people, which is what Providence really provides them. So yeah, then I had an internship at Hasbro senior year, which I actually found through the Career Center. I saw the posting. I knew someone else who was also working at that company at the time, so I reached out to them. So that's also tapping into the network within Providence, and I landed that job. So couldn't have done any of that without all of the resources that were made available to me at Providence.
Yeah, goes back to networking again. So hopefully if you take anything out of this is you should network at all times. I remember being a freshman and the career fair being like, second month. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to, throw on the khakis and like a button down shirt and just show up. I didn't have a resume. But I went there and I just, started talking to folks, shaking hands, saying hello. That's kind of where I met a PwC partner who he's retired since then, but he's the one that kind of told me about the firm that recruited me after. And like, that if you fast forward a few semesters and then I have an internship there as a sophomore. So like, that's kind of what you just have to put yourself out there. The companies are going to be there. The alums are going to be there. So it's the alumni network super strong, and the corporate network is really strong. Companies want Providence kids, again, for their ability to relate and their ability to be effective communicators and their ability to critically think. And again, it goes back to your liberal arts education. It goes back to, your technical business courses as well. So there's plenty of opportunities, as Dean Elsick said.
And I mentioned this earlier about the PC Biz Basics and the tracks. The PC Biz Basics that Jen participated in is just one of several. We have ones that are investment focused, real estate. We have ones that are focused on computer science, AI, and analytics. I wish it was a little bit more creative than that. That's literally what it's called. We're just wrapping up a human resources one. And these are all opportunities to network with alumni because that's who comes each week. And they're designed to be like 2 to 4 weeks in length where they get to meet alumni and really hear about what are these jobs. Like when someone says real estate, what does that mean? It's so much broader than I think students realize. I mean, it's more broader than I realize many days. And so they really get a sense in this opportunity to talk, hear from them, and then also talk one-on-one with these alumni. And obviously, we always encourage them to connect. And every alum has shared their email account or address, their LinkedIn, and a lot of the students have really stayed connected with a lot of these alums and have had great opportunities for internships, great opportunities to learn more about skills development, hear from them, and coaching for the next several years that they're here. And so it's a great opportunity to network and stay connected, with our alumni. And so it's really a nice opportunity. And there's just so much going on. I hope you have a chance to take a look at our website. There's just so much what we call experiential learning, co-curricular stuff going on. Like we're only scratching the surface during this Zoom meeting.
So that actually brings up we have just a few questions left. So Jen and Christian, especially, thank you for sticking with us. Jen, I'm going to pose this question to you. Christian, you're getting the next question. The first question is on the website. So someone is doing their research, everybody, look at that. It states that there's an emphasis on we, not me. And how do you feel like that made an impact on your learning experience at Providence College?
I love that phrase also. I think they put that on the website when I was there. And you do see it in almost every aspect of the college, not only your classes where you're in a group project. You have to meet with one group of people all semester. That's a we. You're all kind of coming together for the same output and you're all working towards the same goal. You go to a basketball game and it's packed with students who are just rooting on their classmates who are also playing D1 basketball. That's we. And then intramurals, I'm showing up at 9 p.m. with my 5 college roommates trying to win a softball game. That's a we, not an I. And it's something that sticks with me to this day. As I work in any company, I'm not there for me. I'm there for the company and working with everyone around me towards common goals. So I hope that answered it. But yeah, that would be my answer.
Awesome. Okay. This is the next question. Do your professors bring real business experience into the classroom, and how would you rate your problem solving skills, Kristen, as in terms of what you learned in class and relating that back to real life?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like obviously professors are academic in that sense, but I remember oftentimes there's always the real cases that were brought into the classrooms where things were a little bit more practical. And so, that's always helpful when you're in that learning environment where you're seeing case studies, where you're discussing as a team, how you would solve it, etc. I mean, I don't know, I would rate my problem solving skills as pretty good. And yeah, all that kind of stemmed from my experience at Providence because you start to see different patterns and they repeat themselves. And so now that I'm in the workforce, I'm seeing patterns that I saw as a student, and I'm able to kind of lean on that experience and lean on those learnings. So, looking back, definitely translated really nicely. A lot of the faculty too will be practitioners. So there would be folks who have been partners at, different firms or have started their own businesses or, did XYZ and were leaders in an organization. And they come and bring that to the classroom. There's certainly classes where we had that. So, safe to say, yeah, it's absolutely just translates super well. And I think that's why I kind of keep going back to like critical thinking, problem solving. Those are the skills that I learned that I use every day in my job today, right? Every day, my everyday is not the same, and I'm always interacting with other folks. And when you're in teams and you have to lead or you have to be a part of the team, you kind of lean on those kind of practical sets that I was taught at PC. So
One last question for the both of you, and then we've gotten all the questions answered. Did either of you study abroad, and can you speak quickly to that experience?
Yes, I studied abroad my fall semester junior year in Spain. So I was in Barcelona. I lived with a host family, and it was the best experience ever. I hate to be that girl who was like, abroad changed me, but honestly, the learnings that I took out of that stick with me to this day, and it was such a great experience. And yeah, so many opportunities, so many countries to go to, things to learn, places to travel to. So totally great.
And if you don't mind, Megan, let me do a quick finer point. So for everyone out there, we have almost 50% of our School of Business students study abroad for a semester. And so we've really designed it so that when students go abroad, they're able to take from what we call our SAIL list, so a pre-approved list for business students. They're able to take a combination of PC core classes, School of Business core classes, and major courses. In addition, our students actually engage in experiential learning abroad. This is a requirement we have. So our students are engaging in either an internship for credit, or they're in a consulting project working for a company. And so speaking to the earlier question, they're getting this opportunity to actually work on a business problem in a class while they're overseas. And so our students really pick from one of those two experiences depending upon the location. I also want to talk a little bit more about opportunities to learn in the classroom. We also offer what we call project-based courses or real-world consulting courses. And this is where students work in a class with a faculty member, and they work in teams, and they're given a real-life business problem from a company. And so they would work together to come up with business solutions that they present to the company. And I can't list all of them for a variety of reasons, but they're really well-known companies. Companies certainly you've all heard of. And if you take a look at our website, you can kind of go into deeper dive. But this is a really great opportunity to help students take what they're learning and really apply it in the groups, the we, and they get this opportunity to really give great business solutions. And I, in fact, saw some of our former clients, if you will, and they told me they're literally using their business solutions, right? And sometimes they've created dashboards for them. Sometimes they've given them marketing and like social media campaigns, and they're said, they're using their business solution. So really exciting for our students, this opportunity to really network again and work with real companies. And so there's a lot of great opportunities for students, who want to get engaged and really, think about, what do I want to get out of my 4 years here?
That was all the questions. You all did a great job. Thank you for all of that. We had lots of interested students. I'm going to stop it now while there's nothing in the Q&A function. So just know that we will be sending out this recording to all of you and to those who registered who couldn't attend. So if you have a friend who couldn't attend, we will make sure to send that out. It'll also be posted on our social channels. I want to give a big thank you to our three panelists this evening. You all were incredible. This was super informative, and hopefully the students that are here enjoyed it and feel like they know a lot more about our business programs. One quick plug, we have an open house coming up on October 14th. We'd love to have you join us on campus. You'll hear more from our School of Business and our incredible faculty in that school as part of that day. So that registration is live now. But thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I don't know if anybody has any last parting words that they want to share. We feeling good? Okay. Everybody
go Friars.
Go Friars. And we've got to end
that.
it with the Go Friars, of course. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you on campus soon. Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
That was such a success, I feel like.